Hello guys, welcome to Scary Stories. In today's video, we'll hear some of the craziest conspiracy theories on the internet, from the Illuminati to Atlantis and the moon landing. By the way, none of these are my opinions. This video is for entertainment purposes. But let me know in the comments, which one of these conspiracies do you think might be true? And which one just sounds plain crazy?
You still think we landed on the moon?
To swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
So why don't you just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Cybro, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
Well, I take your stuff and get the out. Why don't you quote me and say it's
and the shadows in the wrong place? I don't give a damn about all that.
Of lunar orbit being falsified.
being falsified?
Correct. We got an unedited tape from a source at the Johnson Space Center.
Totally nonsense.
Does anyone actually still watch the moon landing footage and think it's real?
Houston, we've had a problem. Main B, bus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Stand by at 13, we're looking at it. Okay, right now, Houston, the voltage is looking good.
Did fake the moon landing. That's a fact, whether people realize it or not. Today, with 54-year better rocket designs and computer designs, the farthest that NASA can send a rocket with an astronaut into space is 1,000th the distance to the moon. That's why they're sending mannequins to orbit the moon that can't even land because they would die from the radiation. Most people don't know, which is above the Earth, starting at about 1,000 miles and extending about 30,000 miles, is a huge band of radiation that astronauts would have to go through to the moon and through again back. The technology for an astronaut to go through it to the moon and back and survive has yet to be invented. They had 1/8 of an inch of aluminum. Now, when you get a dental x-ray, they use 1/4 inch lead. And so that's for 1/24 of a second. They would be in that for an hour to an hour and a half going to the moon and an hour to an hour and a half coming back.
Go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
I was a firm believer that we never went to the moon. There's some faking going on. If you look at it of the lunar module, where it looks like they're faking a shot of them being really far out, really looks like they're in low Earth orbit. They couldn't get out of low Earth orbit. Then there was also the fact that they lost all of the telemetry data, which was the position of the lunar module at every stage. There's a bunch of different things.
What if Apollo astronaut Buzz Aldrin told you the moon landings didn't happen?
What was the
Would you still
scariest
believe?
moment of the journey?
Scariest. It didn't happen. It could have been scary. Circuit breaker.
Why has
Has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen, so in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Hollow Earth Theory. The Hollow Earth Theory is a captivating concept that suggests the Earth is not solid but rather hollow, with openings at the poles leading to a mysterious inner realm. Proponents of this theory believe that within the Earth's core exists a hidden civilization, possibly more advanced than our own. They argue that ancient cultures like the Mayans and Egyptians possessed knowledge of this inner world, as depicted in their intricate artworks and texts. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Hollow Earth theory is the idea of a central sun. Instead of our familiar sun, supporters propose that a miniature sun exists at the center of the Earth, providing light and warmth to the inner inhabitants. Evidence cited for this theory includes anomalous compass readings near the poles, strange seismic activity, and alleged sightings of UFOs entering and exiting the Earth through polar openings. Some even speculate that mythical lands like Atlantis and Shambhala might be located within the Hollow Earth, serving as sanctuaries for advanced civilizations throughout history.
Did you ever hear about the Grand Canyon theory?
No.
So the Grand Canyon, one of the world's wonders. There's a theory that the Grand Canyon holds something that none of us knew was there. So back in the 1850s, right? Yeah. The Grand Canyon was used to mine gold. When people started mining it, the gold index crashed because they found so much gold there. Okay. Now what happened was the government and the military, they closed it off and they made it a sanctuary so that nobody can just go there and then take whatever they want. There was this one guy, his name was Seth Tanner, and he was an explorer. He explored this one cave and he claims what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
Oh, what did it say?
The Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, you know, the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, and the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price.
The Hollow Earth theory proposes that the Earth is not a solid sphere, but instead has a hollow interior with openings at the poles. According to believers of the theory, there is a secret civilization known as Agartha that exists within the Hollow Earth. This civilization is said to be highly advanced, with technology far beyond what we have on the surface. The idea of a Hollow Earth has been around for centuries, with many cultures having their own myths and legends about a subterranean world. In the 18th century, mathematician Leonard Euler proposed that the Earth was hollow with an interior sun and habitable concentric shells. In the 20th century, the theory gained more attention when Admiral Richard Byrd, an American explorer, reported seeing strange flying objects during his 1947 expedition to the North Pole. He also allegedly wrote in his diary about a secret, highly advanced civilization in the Hollow Earth.
You and your team went into the inner Earth. What was the mission and how did you get there?
Well, we used portal technology, and there'd be anywhere from 10 to 15 people in the group.
Once you get into the inner Earth, how do you move around? Do you walk? Do you drive? What do you do?
Yeah, we basically hike the whole way. I mean, it's all on foot. All on foot. I mean, some of these places are so vast. They're many, many, many miles. I know one of the longest ones I remember was about 6 miles in diameter.
That's pretty hefty.
Yeah, and so yeah, everything's on foot. We do have assistance with special types of robots. and other cybernetic type beings.
Did everybody have a specific purpose?
Yes, everyone had a specific purpose. Some people were teamed up too, as twos.
All right.
Everyone was always monitored. Everyone kind of always knew where everyone was, but you could actually walk a mile or two in these, these areas, these jungles and these lakes and things like that. And in some lakes, you'd have to be careful because they're very acidic, so you couldn't just go in there. You'd probably burn up.
Eat you away. Right?
Yeah, and melt right down.
I mean, what's the worst thing you've seen there that may have happened to one of your crew members? Did anybody die?
Only things I've seen are the videos from past adventurers that have went into these things.
So they showed you videos.
Oh yeah, we
some of this.
many. Yeah, before even going into a mission, you get to see all the prior missions. It's part of their training, so you know what to expect. You know what trees not to touch, what animals not to touch, when to run.
What is then the most horrendous thing you've seen on video? What did you see?
Probably was the lake was pretty bad.
Somebody jumped in there?
Yeah.
You sound emotional here.
Well, they just touched it with their foot. They didn't.
And lost a foot?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
It just
they were
ate it away?
Yeah, it was like acid. Yeah, didn't make it. So.
Now you saw this on video, or
just
you were
on
there?
Video.
Now, this is scary. Have you heard of the inner Earth theory? In China, they found a huge hole in the ground with an entirely separate ecology and geology from what's on the surface. There's light down there, along with trees, forests, lakes, and rivers. And yes, it's real. In fact, there are a few places like this on Earth. There's another one in South America. These places really exist. The one I was trying to reach required a 4-hour hike just to get there. After that, you face very rugged terrain, and then you have to rappel about 200 meters into this opening in the earth. Once you're down there, you find an actual beach underground. There's a beach, and the area has its own ecosystem, with forests, jungles, light reaching down there, animals living there, and everything else. So, there are these giant openings in the earth. It's not about a hollow earth, but you have to understand that the earth's massive size allows for huge spaces that could potentially hold millions of people. We only live on the surface, just the outer skin.
天空这个环境其实相对而言干扰比较小，所以等于说，给植物有一个庇护所。其实很多动物在这边也是一个很好的一个庇护所。
现在因为我们的人类活动和自然环境的一些变化的话，很多物种的一些栖息地丧失，那很多物种就是在我们还没有认识它的时候，它就已经从这个地球上消失掉了。
These are conspiracy theories that I believe in. The number one biggest conspiracy theory that I believe in is the Mandela effect. I think it is 100% real. I'll put some examples on the screen. It truly will fuck with your brain when you look up Mandela effect. This one may be just because I'm from Colorado, but I believe every conspiracy theory about the Denver airport. But if you just do some deep diving research into that airport, it is so creepy. I don't know if anyone's ever driven into the Denver airport, but if you have, you know the blue horse with red eyes that is so scary. First of all, the horse's name is Lucifer, and it killed the person who built it.
Have you heard of the Denver International Airport DIA Illuminati headquarters theory? Some people believe that the Denver International Airport, which opened in 1995, is secretly a hub for the Illuminati or other shadowy global elites. The theory is fueled by a mix of strange architecture, odd murals, and cryptic symbols around the airport. For example, the murals inside the airport depict apocalyptic scenes with militaristic imagery. This sparks speculation about hidden messages or warnings. A time capsule in the airport bears a dedication plaque with a Masonic symbol. Conspiracy theorists link this to secret societies. The airport's runways from above are said to resemble a swastika, though this is likely coincidental. A giant eerie blue horse statue, nicknamed Lucifer, greets visitors at the entrance. Its glowing red eyes and ominous vibe have fueled rumors that it symbolizes evil forces. To top it off, theorists claim the airport has underground bunkers meant for the global elite to hide in during an apocalypse. Despite the lack of evidence, this theory keeps the DIA a favorite hotspot for conspiracy enthusiasts.
Are we ready to have a conversation about the Denver airport? Because usually we gotta like pussy pop and sidetrack our way into conspiracies. We gotta be adding 1 + 1, 2 + 2. We gotta stand upside down and squint real hard. But I think this particular airport, they're trying to play in our face. Does this horse not look like it's there to drag your ass all the way to hell? Let me begin by being facetious. We build airports as a means to transport people from one place to another, do we not? Well, in that respect, we shouldn't have never built Denver Airport to begin with. There was nothing wrong with the airport that was there before. To understand the full scope of the fuckery, we gotta go through sections of the airport. Starting with the delays, the fact that there was no need for it in the first place, this freaky ass horse, the doomsday artwork, the gargoyles that look demonic. What the fuck?
Denver airport theory is so creepy. No one knows why it was built because Denver already had a fully functioning airport in downtown. But this one went $2 billion over budget and took 2 years longer than expected to finish. It's rumored that it cost so much because it has a 5-story underground facility, which might be a doomsday bunker for the elite and rich or something much worse. But airport officials claim that it's just an underground baggage system that was never used. Throughout the airport, there's also disturbing and eerie murals depicting things like destruction and the apocalypse, and several gargoyle statues which are said to be symbols of protection. But the creepiest is this blue Mustang statue named Lucifer. It's 32 feet tall with glowing red eyes, and when the artist was making it, the head fell over him, which instantly killed him. But they still finished the statue and put it up. The airport also has 2 secret runways which are believed to be used by the government. And there's even a time capsule from 1994 buried inside which can't be opened until 2094, which might finally explain all of these secrets. What do you think they're hiding in the Denver airport?
Not me accidentally finding the Denver airport backrooms. Like, this shit just keeps going on and on. The ceilings are all so low. Like, what the hell? Okay. And it keeps going. Yo, where the fuck am I? Like, okay, this says that there's a gate right there, but there's literally nothing right here. This airport is just so fucking weird.
This is the backrooms explained. The backrooms are alleged to be an alternate terrifying dimension that people end up in when they glitch out of reality. Upon glitching into the backrooms, you will find 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms that literally go on forever. Nothing but the stink of moist carpet, the madness of the color mono yellow, and the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz. And if you hear something moving, you better run because the chances are they heard you too. In order to escape, it is said you have to complete a series of levels, which test you to an impossible standard. Which is why if you ever enter the backrooms, you're most likely never getting out.
The backrooms is a place you fall into in your dreams, which is out of reality. It is believed once you come here, you are very unlikely to ever escape. You will keep running round the same corridors and rooms forever. Every door and entrance will lead you back to another room and back to where you started. You can't leave. Do any of these places seem familiar to you?
Is Atlantis actually real? Many historians and researchers believe that Atlantis was a real place, a highly advanced society with impressive technology and culture. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato wrote about Atlantis in his dialogues, describing it as a powerful kingdom that existed around 9,000 years before his time. According to the legend, the city was situated on an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and was destroyed by natural disasters and catastrophes. There have been numerous archaeological discoveries and ancient texts that suggest the existence of a lost civilization with advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. Some of these artifacts date back to the same period when Atlantis was said to have flourished. There is also many geographic and geological features that could match the description of Atlantis in Plato's account. So what do you think?
A location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Rishat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. And what's so spectacular about this is that it just so happens to match what Plato had described as the lost ancient city of Atlantis. Plato had described Atlantis as made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which matches the Rishat structure. It also is said to have an opening to the sea at the south, and if you look at it from satellite imagery, you can clearly see that water had ran through it. And what people don't realize is that Sahara Africa, up until about 4,500 to 5,000 years ago, was totally green. It was tropical. It had one of the largest networks of rivers ever known to exist. Or it was said to have mountains to the north, and you just so happen to have mountains called the Atlas mountain chain, but it goes further than that. It turns out that the Sahara Desert is one of the least studied places on Earth.
There's so much that points to that possibly being Atlantis.
Archaeologists roll their eyes every time you say the word Atlantis, but that is precisely the date that Plato, which is the earliest surviving reference to Atlantis, that's precisely the date he gives for the destruction of Atlantis, 11,600 years before our time. He puts it this way, that his ancestor Solon visited Egypt, and we know about that visit. It's historically recorded. That visit to Egypt was in 600 BC, and there Solon claimed to have been told by Egyptian priests about this great advanced civilization that once existed, but that angered the gods and was destroyed in an enormous flood. And Solon asked those Egyptian priests, when did this happen? And they said, 9,000 years ago. Well, do the math. That's in 600 BC. That's 9,000 years before 600 BC. We call that 9,600 BC. That's 11,600 years ago. That's exactly the date of the end of the Younger Dryas, and it's exactly the date of what is called Meltwater Pulse 1b, one of the biggest single rises overnight in sea level that ever occurred.
So we all know about the lost civilization of Atlantis, but did you know that there's actual scientific evidence to prove that Atlantis did indeed exist and was destroyed 11,600 years ago? Buckle in, because what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind. Let's start off by talking about this beautiful gentleman right here. His name is Plato, and he is the sole reason why we know about Atlantis today. He wrote a dialogue called Timaeus and Critias, where he went into every detail you would ever need to know about Atlantis. But for now, all you need to know is that in his story he states that Atlantis was destroyed by flood and fire 11,600 years ago. Keep that date in the back of your mind while I'm talking, because it's very, very important. So from 12,800 years ago to 11,600 years ago, there was a huge dramatic plunge in temperatures on the Earth, and this period is known by geologists as the Younger Dryas. For ages, we had no idea how this dramatic drop in temperatures started and ended. We just knew that it happened. Until geologists found this worldwide layer of ash and soot found in the dirt. And all the places where this layer was found was within the Younger Dryas boundary, right in that orange blob above me. And this layer of ash and soot is a sure indicator that there was a comet or some sort of astral object hitting Earth. And all the sites date their, layer of ash and soot back to the same time, 12,800 years ago, the beginning of the Younger Dryas. So we know what started the Younger Dryas, but we don't know what ended it 11,600 years ago. The only thing that we do know as fact about the end of the Younger Dryas 11,600 years ago was that there was a huge rise in sea level. And this rise in sea level created huge floods across the globe. What many scientists believe was that there was a comet that hit our ocean in the Gulf Stream and heated the Gulf Stream back up. The Gulf Stream, by the way, is basically the most important part of our ecosystem and controls the temperatures of the whole globe. Now this is where Atlantis comes in. Plato says that Atlantis once existed in that white patch in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So in the middle of the Gulf Stream. So basically, if there was one place on Earth that would be the most impacted by this huge rise in sea levels, it would be a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And let's not forget that Plato linked Atlantis' destruction of flood and fire with the exact date that there would have been a huge rise in sea levels. In every ancient civilization, there is at least one myth or legend about a huge flood. Take the ancient Chinese legend of the Great Flood of Ganyu, for example, as well as many mentions of a great flood in Mesoamerica.
I got an interesting theory for you guys today. Now, I know everybody done seen The Little Mermaid, you know, Aquaman and all this and that. So, what if I told you that the city of Atlantis is real? Okay, last week, the U.S. Navy dropped a 40,000-pound bomb in the middle of the ocean. And their reason for it was they said it was to see if their ships can withstand the impact, you know, training exercises. I think that's bullshit because you and I both know one thing the U.S. don't play about is their military. So of course they're gonna make sure everything is good to go because what the U.S. like to do, fuck over shit. But the interesting part of my whole theory is where they actually bombed it. The area where they chose to test the bomb at is actually off, like in the ocean off of Florida, where people who went there, really nobody came back. If not 1% came back. And so me, being me, you know, I did a little research and kind of, you know, dived into it. And this is what I found out. The area where they set off that bomb at is actually called the Bermuda Triangle. Now, I don't know if you guys heard legends about the Bermuda Triangle, but the Bermuda Triangle, what I've heard was that, you know, once you go in there, you don't come back. It's, you know, lost coordinates. It's considered like, you know, the dead part of the sea. And I also know that America, we haven't discovered a full 100% of the ocean. And even lesser than 1% of the ocean floor. So it's really a lot that we do not know about, you know, the ocean because, you know, it's deep and you only can go so far without the pressure of the ocean crushing you. So we haven't been to the deepest depths of it. Now we're about to have a little history lesson. Okay, now the folklore with mermaids was that, you know, they used to act like a damsel in the sea, like on the rock, or like hiding their tails, the way, like, you know, ask for sailors to help, and then, you know, they got rid of them. They killed them, drowned them underwater, and all that good stuff. Peep the image. So now they kind of got me thinking. Now the mermaid's tale was they used to sing to get people to their demise, and with the Bermuda Triangle, only 1% of people make it back if they travel to it. I think that the U.S., they knows that Atlantis is located in the Bermuda Triangle, and they're trying to blow it up before we find out. But you know.
Bermuda Triangle was once the lost city of Atlantis. If you don't know what the Bermuda Triangle is, it's the stretch of ocean between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico. For years and years, ships and planes have been going missing inside the Bermuda Triangle, never to be seen again. There are so many different conspiracy theories about the Bermuda Triangle, but one of the most common conspiracy theories is that the Bermuda Triangle is actually the place where Atlantis once resided, and that technology that was developed by Atlanteans back in the day is still active on the sea floor, which could be causing mechanical malfunctions to the ships and planes that travel through the Bermuda Triangle, resulting in them ultimately crashing or sinking.
I've not been showing you this. The Bermuda Triangle is hiding a secret, and no, it's not what you think. Almost 3 times bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza, there is a gigantic crystal pyramid under the surface of that region. Here is where it gets rather unsettling. This pyramid's material and behavior isn't like anything we find here on Earth. It creates powerful natural electromagnetic fields, which may explain the accounts of planes and ships vanishing. This is where things get scary. In recently uncovered documents from a government whistleblower, It said that researchers believe that this pyramid was built by an ancient, super advanced civilization known as the Atlanteans. The document specifically mentioned that the Atlanteans had mastered interdimensional travel and built this pyramid as one of Earth's gateways to another realm. Due to the disappearance of the Atlanteans, it has since become unstable and has been the root cause of many mysterious disappearances. This explains why so many ships and planes have vanished without an explanation. It begs the question, where did these Atlanteans go and what happened to their vast technology?
Okay, TikTok. If you guys don't know what's going on, researchers discovered two massive crystal pyramids on the bottom of the ocean floor in the Bermuda Triangle. If you guys don't know what the Bermuda Triangle is, you need to look it up right now. It's in the Atlantic Ocean. Legend says any plane or anything that goes to the Bermuda Triangle or over it supposedly ends up in a different dimension. I don't know, that's just a legend. But if this article is true, and this is an actual picture of the crystal pyramids found in the ocean, then this is actually bigger than Egypt. We gotta get researchers down there and figure out what's going on. I mean, I think this has connection to do with the crystal skulls that they're always finding. I mean, they're crystal pyramids, crystal skulls. Put two and two together here. I told you guys. They only searched like 10% of the ocean. There is way more they haven't discovered.
What if I told you aliens aren't in space? They're hiding at the bottom of the ocean. Scientists know more about the surface of Mars than about Earth's oceans. Coincidence? Some theories suggest that deep beneath the waves lie hidden alien bases where extraterrestrial beings have lived for millennia. Witnesses near the Bermuda Triangle have reported glowing objects emerging from the water at impossible speeds, known as USOs, unidentified submerged objects. In 1997, a sound called the bloop was recorded in the Pacific Ocean. It was so powerful that some believe it came from a massive creature or advanced alien technology. Some researchers even propose that aliens created humanity's first civilizations, using the ocean as a hiding place to observe and control our progress. What if aliens aren't up there but down here? Look at the ocean. The answers we've been ignoring for centuries might be right below us.
The earth is not moving according to the Bible. The earth is at rest. If you look at the NASA logo, you can see it is the tongue of a serpent. And the serpent is a deceiver. As far as NASA is concerned, Earth travels about 1.6 million miles per day. So that's 66,627 miles per hour. 666. You better open your eyes. So the sun, the moon, and the galaxy are moving too. All of these things are zooming through space according to NASA. Look at Zechariah chapter 1 verse 11. We have walked to and fro through the earth, and behold, all the earth sits still and is at rest. So the earth is not moving according to the Bible. The earth is at rest. In Psalms 96 verse 10, the Bible says, the world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. Then there's 1 Chronicles chapter 16 verse 30. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. The earth does not move. It is perfectly still, it is perfectly flat, and is covered with a dome.
It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon, it is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit. The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space around it. That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from entering through the other windows. Here you can see the extruded window, probably 2 inches thick at the bottom. This is because the Earth's shine is coming in at a downward angle. It also causes the Earth to appear to be an irregularly shaped circle, for you are seeing the outside of the window at the bottom and the inside of the window at the top, which together form 2 different sized halves of a circle. Subsequently, this take was never used. As they perfected the shot, a crescent-shaped piece of black material was inset slightly into the window to create the illusion of the Earth's terminator line dividing night and day. It is uncannily convincing. During this segment, intended to be edited and played back later for the worldwide television audience, dated July 18, 1969, Neil Armstrong condemns himself as he states that he is 130,000 miles out, or halfway to the moon, as the NASA flight log also states on this date, when he is in reality in low Earth orbit of a few hundred miles.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Calling in from about 130,000 miles out.
Here, during another segment, also intended to air after review, Neil Armstrong falsely explains to the viewers how the shot is attained by putting the camera's lens to the window's glass, as it would have to be if they were the claimed distance away from the Earth.
We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with a TV camera.
If the window was completely filled up with a TV camera, as he stated, then an astronaut's arm would not be able to get between the camera and the window, as it obviously does here in this outtake.
South America becomes invisible just off beyond the Terminator or inside the shadow.
You can also notice how the astronaut operating the camera reacted to the mistake by attempting to pan away from it.
Blue gas. See white bands of major cloud formations across the Earth.
This is a segment that they believed wasn't even being recorded, much less suitable for broadcast, for the lens was being zoomed out and the scene was being changed to that of an interior of the astronauts at work, and apparently the stop button popped back up on the recorder without notice. Here is the diffused work light that they used to see camera controls, but not throw light onto the spacecraft's wall. Here they remove part of the crescent insert. Finally, the iris is opened up and you can see the real location of the camera and the very bright and near Earth out the window. Here is the slate for the 19th of July, and the same shot of trickery on the 19th of July, and then the 20th, and the same misleading shot on the 20th. Later that evening, they were said to be walking on the moon. How can this be when they were in Earth orbit only 9 hours earlier, and the moon is some 3 days' journey away? Furthermore, if they genuinely went to the moon, why would they be faking any part of it? Why this trickery with the window? By faking being halfway to the moon, it becomes apparent that they did so because they could not even go halfway.
We believe that this is the closest depiction of what the Earth actually looks like. As we all know, or should know, we live in an enclosed system. Therefore, there is an ice wall surrounding this entire planetary system, in which we are in the middle of this enclosed system. And outer space is not real the way they described it and showed y'all. Outer space is not actually above us and out of this planetary system. Outer space would be this outer layer that is outside of our ice wall here in the middle. Extraterrestrials or aliens do not come from above outer space. Extraterrestrials come from beyond the ice wall.
Then the ice starts to go from smooth to starting to break up here.
Like, where are we right now? What planet is this? Just take a photo picture. I like how that Earth is meeting the glacier. See that interesting shape?
Oh wow, yeah. Making? Just mesmerized. I've never seen terrain like this.
It's so insane, isn't it? How? Because this is right at the edge of it. It's pools of water.
And full ice. Like cold. I don't even know what
Not like nothing you've ever seen, huh?
Nothing like nothing.
It blows away anything we've seen so far.
Oh man, the ice below us is that's like the Grand Canyon of ice.
Yep.
Just like blown away looking up at the walls and the peaks next to us.
We all know that Antarctica is the most mysterious and intriguing continent that exists. Recently, an incredible theory has been spreading and could completely change our perception of this territory. According to this theory, Antarctica is not a vast expanse of ice at the bottom of the Earth, but rather a gigantic wall of ice surrounding all the continents of this world. Some even believe that if we were able to cross this ice wall, we would discover other continents that have intentionally been kept hidden from us. In 1992, a new standard world map called the Gleason map was published, depicting Antarctica encircling all our continents. A very intriguing fact is that the logo of the United Nations strongly resembles this map. A pilot took the risk of going there despite the prohibitions and released a low-quality video claiming to have reached this ice wall. But we cannot be sure if it is truly Antarctica or if it is staged. Scientists have long established that Antarctica is indeed a continent, thanks to satellite images that show its structure and expanse. Therefore, it is important to rely on solid evidence and serious research to understand our world. So, is this theory simply the product of the imagination of some individuals, or are all our beliefs biased?
لماذا جعلوا الأرض كروية؟ احنا راح نتكلم في حدود معينة، وهو حدود العلم. إذا قلنا أن الأرض كروية، في الكرة معروفة حدودها ومعروفة قاراتها وخلاص محدودة. لكن عندما نقول أن الأرض عظيمة ممتدة وحدودنا التي علمنا هي هذه القارات، لكن هل هناك غيرنا؟ نعم، هناك أمم غيرنا في هذه الأرض. الذي يسمونه القطب الجنوبي لا يوجد شيء اسمه قطب جنوبي، بل هو جوانب الأرض. ما بعد الجليد توجد بوابة عظيمة جدا الدول العظمى على علم بها، والبوابة تطل على أرض أخرى هي حضارات أخرى منها يأجوج ومأجوج. وللعلم البترول اللي هو النفط الخام، الكرود أويل اللي موجود في أراضينا هو أنهار عندهم، هو بالنسبة لهم أنهار تجري فيدخل في تحت الأرض وفي بعض الأرض حتى يصل إلى أراضينا. ليس البترول هي بقايا حيوانات أو عظام أو ديناصورات من هالخرافات اللي الناس مصدقتها، ولا بقايا نباتات قديمة جدا. لا، البترول أنهار في أرضهم تجري حتى تدخل في باطن الأرض إلى أرضنا. واضح؟
Okay, so the theory about Atlantis being in the Bermuda Triangle is an interesting idea and could explain all the cases of missing ships and planes. However, I believe the cause of all these missing ships is because Satan's throne is on water, and my theory is that it may be located in the Bermuda Triangle. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Satan's throne being on water is mentioned in an Islamic hadith, which states, Satan places his throne upon water. He then sends his troops. The nearest to him in rank are those who are most skillful in creating mischief. So we know for a fact his throne is on water. We just don't know the exact location. But my personal theory is that it may be in the Bermuda Triangle due to all the unexplained activity. Wow, some of these theories were really interesting. The one theory that I agree with is that the moon landing was fake. One reason is because if you Google which countries have landed on the moon, It says the United States is the only country to successfully land humans on the moon. So they're basically saying that over 55 years, no other country has developed the technology to go to the moon. They're lying. So you're saying other countries like the UK, China, and Russia, who have well-known space programs, couldn't figure out how to reach the moon? And we know the Chinese and Russians are smart enough to figure it out, so come on now. These are the same countries we're always complaining are cyber hacking us and got nukes. Even in the video clips we saw, Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon after Neil Armstrong, doing an interview at Oxford University, and he literally said, quote, "We didn't go to the moon, it didn't happen." What more proof do people need? I mean, why would he lie and risk ruining his legacy? Also, I think they lied about the moon landing because they wanted to beat the Russians during the Cold War and wanted to win the space race. That's why we've never been back, because we never went in the first place. Remember this, America is the home of Hollywood. Anything's possible. Plus, we saw that clip of a NASA astronaut saying that they used to have the technology to go to the moon, but they destroyed it. Like, huh? Why would they destroy technology that took years to discover? Because it's a lie. So you're telling me that you created the technology in the 1960s to land on the moon, but we can't figure it out today in 2024. Despite all the new AI technology they're throwing at us, including driverless cars and talking robots. Make it make sense. Lastly, I have to say this for YouTube purposes. This video is just for fun, and these theories are not necessarily true. But let me know in the comments some of your own personal theories, and please like and subscribe for more content.